You're watching Top 5 Reveal. Real World Mystery and Crime. Halloween Special. Today, we delve into the shadows of cinematic history to uncover the gruesome truths that fueled our darkest fears. These are the top 5 real murders that inspired iconic horror movies. Number 5. The Gainesville Ripper and Scream. Before Ghostface stalked the teens of Woodsboro, a real-life monster named Danny Rolling terrorized the college town of Gainesville, Florida. In August 1990, Rolling, who became known as the Gainesville Ripper, went on a brutal spree, murdering 5 students in just 4 days. His methods were horrifyingly similar to what we see on screen. He would stalk his victims, break into their homes, and his crimes were marked by a theatrical, almost cinematic level of cruelty. Screenwriter Kevin Williamson was living in Los Angeles when he saw a news report about the murders. The idea that a killer could be anywhere, could be anyone, and could turn your own home into a scene of terror struck a deep chord. He channeled that fear into the script for Scream, creating a story that played on the very real anxieties of a generation and forever changed the horror genre by making us question if we were truly safe, even with the doors locked. Number 4. The Murders at 112 Ocean Avenue and the Amityville Horror. We all know the story. A family moves into their dream home, only to be driven out by malevolent supernatural forces. But the haunting of Amityville has a dark, real-world prelude. On November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. systematically murdered his entire family, his parents and 4 siblings, as they slept in their beds at 112 Ocean Avenue. DeFeo's story constantly changed, but the brutal fact remained. 6 people lost their lives in that house. Just 13 months later, the Lutz family moved in. Their claims of paranormal activity, from strange sounds and smells to spectral apparitions, became the foundation for the book and subsequent film, The Amityville Horror. While the supernatural claims are heavily debated, the grim reality is that the house was the site of a horrific mass murder, a fact that undeniably taints its history and imbues the fictional haunting with a palpable sense of dread. The evil in the movie wasn't just a concept, it was rooted in a real, tragic event. Number 3. The Wineville Chicken Coop Murders and Changeling. In 1928, a single mother named Christine Collins was thrust into a living nightmare. Her 9-year-old son Walter vanished. Months later, the police proudly announced they had found him. But when the boy arrived, Christine insisted it wasn't her son. The police, desperate to close the case and maintain their public image, refused to believe her. They publicly discredited her, accused her of being a bad mother, and eventually had her committed to a psychiatric ward. All the while, the real Walter had fallen victim to a monstrous killer named Gordon Stewart Northcott. On a desolate ranch in Wineville, California, later nicknamed the Murder Farm, Northcott had abducted, abused, and murdered numerous young boys. The case exposed shocking police corruption and incompetence, a story so bizarre and heartbreaking it could only be true. The film Changeling, directed by Clint Eastwood, brought Christine's harrowing fight for the truth to light, reminding us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones wearing a uniform and sworn to protect. Number 2. The Plainfield Ghoul and Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs. One man's depravity inspired not 1, but 3 of the most influential horror villains of all time. His name was Ed Gein. In the remote town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, in the 1950s, Gein lived in squalor after the death of his domineering mother. When authorities investigated the disappearance of a local hardware store owner, they stumbled upon a house of horrors that defied belief. They found her body, but that was just the beginning. Gein had been exhuming corpses from local cemeteries for years, using their remains to create household items and clothing. He made bowls from skulls, chair seats from human skin, and wore a suit made from the skin of women. The details were so grotesque, they captivated and horrified the nation. Robert Bloch, the author of the novel Psycho, lived just 35 miles from Plainfield and based the mother-obsessed Norman Bates directly on Gein. The skin-wearing Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the chrysalis-loving Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs also owe their twisted legacies to the real-life atrocities committed by the Butcher of Plainfield. Which message gave you chills? Subscribe for more real-life mysteries. Number 1. The Servant Girl Annihilator and the Zodiac Killer. The top spot is a chilling tale that spans over a century, linking one of America's first documented serial killers to one of its most infamous. In 1884 and 1885, the city of Austin, Texas, was paralyzed by fear. An unknown assailant, dubbed the Servant Girl Annihilator, was breaking into homes in the dead of night, brutally attacking his victims with an axe. The killer struck with terrifying precision and then vanished, leaving behind a trail of carnage and a city in panic. The crimes were never solved. Fast forward to the late 1960s in Northern California. The Zodiac Killer began his own reign of terror, taunting police and the public with cryptic letters and ciphers. Decades later, a compelling theory emerged. What if the Zodiac's letters weren't just random ramblings, but a modern continuation of an older killer's work? The film The Town That Dreaded Sundown is directly based on a similar series of unsolved moonlight murders in Texarkana in 1946, which themselves mirrored the Austin attacks. David Fincher's masterpiece, Zodiac, meticulously chronicles the hunt for the elusive 60s killer. The true horror lies in the unknown. These killers were never caught. They became ghosts, phantom figures whose identities are lost to time, proving that the most terrifying monster is the one who gets away, leaving us to wonder who they were and when their shadow might fall again. The line between horror and history is terrifyingly thin. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the dark. If you found these stories as unsettling as we did, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more dives into real-life mysteries. And don't forget to click here to watch our next video, Top 5 Disturbing True Stories Found on Reddit. Stay safe and check your locks.